Airsoft Station for sponsoring this video. Check out their website in the description down below.
Any good corporate assassin knows you need the right tool for the job. The Galaxy G Series is a gas blowback pistol released by WeTech, a direct competitor to the AAP-01. This pistol also boasts compatibility with Glock-style airsoft magazines, select fire, and a very similar design, with seemingly higher quality externals. Does this airsoft pistol have what it takes to become part of your permanent collection? Let's find out. No, it doesn't. This is one of the worst airsoft guns that I have ever reviewed. It really was a challenge to get everything that I needed to make this review video. Now, typically what the corporate heads at Interlink do is help me help you decide what products to buy. Obviously, all of that hardware isn't being subsidized by our employers, so we got to help you make the smartest decision. When you watch these videos, I want you to feel like you've got a really good picture of what it's like to hold this airsoft gun in your hands, know how it's going to perform when you take it out on the field, and ultimately decide if it's something that you want to spend your money on. Because of that, I'm looking at a lot of reviews that have already been published. I'm watching videos, I'm reading different reviews. I'm going over to r/airsoft and seeing what those Einsteins have to say about whatever platform I'm reviewing. While I was doing that research, I found about a 50-50 split. Half of the users really liked the WeTech Galaxy, and the other half had some complaints about it. But I wanted to reserve my biases for when I actually got my hands on it. A local arms dealer of mine and a personal friend, a guy named Rex, sent me the AAP-01. This is an airsoft gun that I really enjoy. Obviously, there's a lot of similarities to the WeTech Galaxy. I felt like I kind of already had my mind made up that the AAP was going to be the better handgun, but this thing took me by surprise. Out of the box, I was really impressed with its build quality. It matched a lot of the features that the AAP already had, and all of my off-camera testing was actually great. I put about 150 to 200 rounds through this thing, and I was pretty convinced that once I took this out for a field test, that this thing was going to absolutely wipe the floor with the AAP. It was going to be a great competitor, and even though it was more expensive at around $160, you were getting that much more value from it. And even though there's some quirks with this platform, it would be able to hold its own and potentially even outperform the AAP. Oh boy, was I wrong. This thing gave me nothing but trouble. I had a ton of misfires, failure to feed malfunctions. I had situations where this thing was cycling, but no BBs were coming out. Things that I honestly have never experienced with an airsoft pistol like this, which leads me to believe that either this is a terrible design or I just happen to get the worst Galaxy in the bunch. Before I show you that function test, let's go over everything that you get in the package with the WeTech Galaxy. Out of the box, you're going to get the handgun, one magazine, and a couple of other accessories that go along with this. Up top, you have a tubular metal assembly. Down below is a Glock-style plastic frame. Well, in this, you have 14mm negative threads. They're underneath this end cap here. And that means that you can attach pretty much any AEG accessory like this SRC suppressor. So while you're going to be compatible with things like AEG suppressors, other muzzle brakes and things like that, certain tracer units, like the tracer unit that I use, of course, like this lighter BT, that's actually not compatible because it can't get over that orange tip. So depending on what kind of tracer that you're using, you may need to remove that orange tip, provided it's legal. You do have a fiber optic front sight that is fixed. You have an adjustable rear sight. Both of those sights are removable, and you'll notice that you have screw holes here on the top and on the bottom of your assembly. That's for attaching Picatinny rails. Those are included in the box. And those rails are great for attaching something like a pistol-mounted red dot, like I have here on my P90. Now, on the other side of the gun, you've got a Glock-style slide stop. That slide stop and your slide have fantastic feedback. It's very mechanical, it's very precise. I never had this thing fail to go back into battery when I hit the slide stop. So points for it there. It's one of my favorite features on this gun. I think those are really well made. Your trigger is made to look like one of those modified Glock triggers, and you do have a little trigger safety in there. You do need to have that depressed to actually pull the trigger. Now there is a mechanical safety on the underside of your frame. It's that little silver switch. Don't use that. It's absolutely terrible. I'll get to that in a second. And of course, a very familiar grip pattern there. It looks exactly like a Glock, complete with the finger grooves and the texturing on the back strap, the sides, and inside each one of those grooves. You know, as compared to the AAP, this looks maybe a little more realistic. It is kind of weird that it's just like a Ruger glued to a Glock. It's kind of like a Ruger and a Glock had an illegitimate love child, and then the Glock just suddenly up and disappeared. The Ruger's left with whatever this is. After months and months, the Ruger finally tracks down the Glock at its place of work and demands child support. And when the Glock refuses, the Ruger loses its mind, spends more months plotting and scheming, and ultimately plants a bomb in the Glock's car. The WeTech Galaxy has two terrible design features. I'll touch on them really quickly. The first one is that safety. And notice something when I try to activate the safety. I have to flick back toward the trigger. That's terrible. I mean, that's just begging for a negligent discharge. I just wouldn't even worry about the safety at that point. Not only that, but it's flush with the bottom of the frame, so it's super hard to turn it off. The other terrible feature is how you adjust the hop-up unit. Now, gas blowback pistols are pretty notorious for being difficult to adjust on the field. Usually you have to pull the slide off, and there's some kind of component in there that you gotta wind. The Galaxy commits the cardinal sin of requiring a tool. I was carrying around a little hobby-sized screwdriver with me to adjust the set screw on the inside, but this is how you do it. So you basically need something to push this little pivot pin out, and then there's a little switch on the back here. You're gonna press that in, and you're gonna pull your whole upper assembly off. So you got your frame here and your upper assembly here, and that tiny screw is how you adjust your hop-up. It's basically impossible to adjust this without some kind of tool, which is terrible. That just means you have to carry something extra on the field, another thing to drop somewhere when you know, you're running or jumping over something, trying to duck behind cover. You should really be able to adjust this hop-up unit without taking the slide off. If you press this button, you'll notice your upper assembly hinge is open. If they had moved this hinge forward half an inch, you'd be able to open this up and it would hinge completely open so that you could adjust your hop-up. It would go open to a 90 degree. It just seems lazy to me. Let's go over to the installation to see what it was actually like to shoot this thing. I'm gonna grab a quick chronograph test and see what this thing's shooting at with 0.25 gram BBs. 333, 329, 329, 334. Yeah, so right around the 330s with 0.25 gram BBs. 1.26 joules. Yeah, 334.6 was our high and 329.3 was our low. So that's pretty consistent. Let's do 5 shots, semi-auto at about 20 feet and see what this thing can do. Freaking sweet, dude. So now we're gonna actually test it with the AAP magazine and see if we can actually get to work with that mag. They're a little bit different, but I think we're gonna have pretty passable results even if we're using a different magazine. All right, 50 feet, here we go. It's not even feeding. Like not even feeding these. Here what you're seeing is a really weird malfunction where the gun is cycling, there's gas going through the system, but it is not pulling any BBs into the chamber. Okay, well, that's not a good sign. I've never been able to get an airsoft gun to cycle without the slide stop re-engaging, unless I was intentionally holding it down. Garbage. The WeTech Galaxy claims to be Glock compatible. Here's your Galaxy magazine, and this is the AAP magazine. The AAP magazine is virtually identical to standard WeTech Glock mags. The Galaxy, strangely enough, is not. This one has a different gasket on top. I think what's happening is because that gasket is a different shape, it's not seating properly on the little piston that's inside the slide there. I mean, it seems like you're almost better off just using WeTech Galaxy mags. That kind of defeats the purpose of it being Glock compatible at that point.
See that?
Yeah.
A little negligent discharge.
Basically what you're seeing here is a failure to feed malfunction. So what's happening is when I'm shooting the gun, the slide is coming back and then it's failing to shear a BB from the magazine, and it's basically getting locked halfway. No idea why that's happening. This thing came out of the box, it was already greased. I put around 150 to 200 rounds before I took it out there, and it was functioning fine.
It reset too, that's weird. Interesting, okay. I've never had that happen before. That's why you keep your firearms pointed in a safe direction, folks. Crazy. Dude, this thing is unbelievable. I cannot record a video on a gun that doesn't work. The hop up on this is pretty wild. What I mean by that is it does not hold its zero very well. I've had to adjust this thing a couple of times since we've gotten out here. We're gonna test it at this distance. I'm gonna be surprised if I can put anything on there. All right, let's go. Nothing. Nothing. Come on. There we go. What you really want to happen with a hop up is that it's a little bit over hop, which means it's gonna go out, it's gonna arc up just a little bit, and then it's gonna complete that arc and just kind of sail out into the distance. That's how you maximize the range out of an airsoft gun. What is happening now is the hop up is completely gone. So it's just like coming straight out of the barrel and just like sailing right into the ground. So as you can see, as I'm aiming out there, I'm like having to aim up to try and hit the target at this distance. That really sucks.
If it was not clear, I am not a fan of the WeTech Galaxy. My goal when making an airsoft review is to help you make an informed decision. Because of that, I typically don't tell you whether to buy a product or not to buy a product. But the WeTech Galaxy, I cannot in good faith say that I endorse this thing. Just based on my experiences with it, as much as I wanted to like it, I would not buy this thing. Now, a huge shout out to Airsoft Station. They sent this thing out for me to review, and I want to do right by them. They've got a ton of other airsoft pistols on their website. You can go and check out their catalog and find something that is going to suit your play style. The ASG-P09 is my personal favorite airsoft pistol. This would be one that I would go and check out if you're looking for a new sidearm. And you know what? Maybe I was completely wrong on the WeTech Galaxy. Maybe you've had fantastic experiences with this thing. Get down in the comments and let me know. Can this thing be optimized? Can it be upgraded? Was I just completely wrong? Something I love about that comment section is that people are always saying whether the airsoft gun that's being reviewed is a great fit for them or something that they're going to pass on. I think that's really helpful, you know. Explain why you feel that way. Maybe help a new player understand why one airsoft gun might be better than the other for somebody starting out. Subscribe to the channel to help prevent further employee liquidation. I'm Reach. Stay corporate approved.